Hi everybody, I'm James, and today we're talking about Texas Congressman and Republican presidential candidate, Ron Paul. You know what? Just holding up these pencil puppets, it's just not doing it for me anymore. It's time to take these videos to the next level. And there's only one man out there who can make that happen. Congressman Ron Paul, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
In my dorm room. And first I just want to say that this is the first presidential candidate, or the first interview ever, to be conducted with a presidential candidate from a college dorm room. Yeah. So I just want to congratulate you. Today we're making history.
So that's going to be that I'm going to get the college vote, right?
You know, it may be, because this is the first time it's ever happened.
Well, we want to make sure the college kids vote. Is that true? Do you think
they're
going to vote?
Absolutely, and I think that
more so than before, maybe.
My hope is that technologies like YouTube, where this video is going to go, is actually going to make that possible.
You know, I sort of suspect that's true, and I'm hoping that's the case, because you know, when the age limit was moved down from 21 to 18, they're all going to vote. It didn't happen. But I think the internet and this type of technique is going to increase the vote of young people, and I think it's pretty important.
There's a lot of young people who are subscribers to me, and I think that this is certainly a way that you can reach out to them, and so I'm really glad that you're here.
Okay.
And we'll get to the internet a little bit later on in our conversation, but first I wanted people just to find out, who is Ron Paul. So why don't you tell me a little bit about who you are and kind of what an ideal America for Ron Paul looks like.
Well, when I think about myself, I think first that I'm a physician by trade. I practiced medicine for 30 years, delivered over 4,000 babies, and was born and raised in Pennsylvania, but moved to Texas after I was drafted into the Air Force. And I think of myself as a family man. I have 5 kids and 18 grandchildren, and they are all very important to me.
Did you deliver any of your grandchildren?
Only one by accident, and that was my second child, and that was because she came so quickly, and I was still a medical student. And at that time, it was still pretty frightening to me,
Yeah.
But it was very interesting. But I got interested in economics along with medicine. In college, though, I was way behind what your interests are, because I wasn't interested in politics.
Oh, really?
But in medical school and later on, I got fascinated with studying economics, not politics, but economic policy. Came across an economic school called Austrian economics, which is free market
When
economics.
you say school, you're talking about a theory?
A theory. It's sort of like, you know, you have heard of Keynesianism, the
Right.
Keynesian school, and you know the supply-siders and the Friedmanites. Well, this one is called
Right.
Austrian because the individuals who developed it came from Austria. And I became fascinated with it. Hayek was a Nobel Prize winner. He was a Austrian, and Friedman is close to that school. But I became fascinated with this, and there were predictions made in the 1960s about what would happen on monetary policy, and they were absolutely right. The gold standard broke down. The Bretton Woods Standards, which was an agreement after World War II, collapsed. We had severe inflation and an attack on the dollar, and a lot of serious economic problems in the 70s, which were all a consequence of the policies of the 60s. Back then, guess what? They had a promise of guns and butter.
Right.
You know, a war and entitlements. Yeah. And guess what? That, of course, is exactly what we're doing now. So that interested me enough. In 1974, I ran for Congress just on a lark, totally convinced that I wouldn't be able to be elected. My wife said, you know, you better not, because you might get elected. So I got involved, and it was through economic policy, and lo and behold, I ended up in Congress, left for a while, left for 12 years to go back to medicine, and then just got back into Congress in '97.
When you ran at the first time, did you think that you would win?
No, I did not. Matter of fact, I didn't win the first time. But then conditions changed, the individual resigned, and there was a special elections, but starting off, the intent was not to become a congressman, because the intent was to try to bring attention to the American people the serious economic problems we have, and to try to get people interested in monetary policy.
So that kind of gives you actually a different reason for running than a lot of people run for Congress. Do you think that kind of gave you a different campaign style, or kind of freed you to say things that other people who run for Congress wouldn't say?
Absolutely. And I think that may be the case in this campaign as well, because I'm more interested in trying to analyze things as truthfully as possible, and to present these views without the expectations or the desire to, on the one hand it's this, on the other hand like this, and try to please the special interest groups and, you know, all that. So to me, it's getting to the bottom of it. Quite frankly, it's my concern about the next generation, your generation, my kids' generation, because they're inheriting a system that is not quite as good as the one that I came into, and the one that was intended by our founders and the Constitution. So I see some serious problems for young people like you getting ready to graduate and go out into the workforce, because you do have an economic burden and you have an attack on your personal liberties, and you are inheriting a foreign policy that deserves challenge.